Okay, so thank you again for your time. And first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself. So we have a little bit of context about your experience. Who are you? What are you working with for right now? And yes.
Okay. Let me get into that. So, yes, my name is Dr. Anthony Rhem. People call me Tony. I am the CEO and principal consultant for AJ Rhem Associates. We are a consulting, training, and research organization specializing in artificial intelligence and knowledge management. We've been around for 30 years, and we've seen a lot. Well, over 30 years, we've seen a lot in technology evolve over time. So where the company, AJ Rhem Associates, is focused on AI knowledge management. Myself, I'm also focused on that same area, those same areas. And I've been fortunate enough to write a few books in the knowledge management and AI space. And I have an active blog. I've been blogging since 2008, Knowledge Management Depot, that talks about a lot of these topics and subjects. I also speak at conferences internationally and companies and other venues. I also host a podcast, Reminiscing with Dr. Tony Rhem, focusing on AI, past, present, and the possible. So I'm knee deep in this this discipline, this industry, and artificial intelligence and knowledge management, and I hope to continue to be prevalent in this space for a long time to come. So that's sort of me in a nutshell there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and all your the work you are doing with us. We are so glad to have you here. As I mentioned when I met you, you have a lot of experience and your insights will be very valuable for our audience. So for start with the questions, over the past 2 years, we've been seeing almost every company experiment with generative AI, right? So, however, only a small percentage seem to be scaling it successfully across the organizations. So, in your experience, what separates organizations that successfully operationalize AI from those that remain stuck into the experimentation phase?
Well, it's a few things going on there. Companies are really trying to find out more about generative AI. There's a bunch of tools out there, introduce their employees to generative AI. And a lot of companies are just buying these products and just implementing them and giving their staff access. And it's treated like a one-off pilot or introduction, or hey, have at it and let us know what you think about the product, instead of something that is part of the ecosystem of the company, part of the capabilities of the organization. So if I want to introduce AI, and especially in this case, generative AI, in my enterprise, I would make it as part of my enterprise capability, and then put in the proper structure for folks to adopt these tools. The one thing I would really look at, first of all, is implementing a AI governance policy, so we can lay out how these products should be used at the organization. Try to cut down on shadow AI, where folks are taking corporate information and using it on their own AI programs like a ChatGPT or a Gemini. Make sure you restrict those type of things from happening. And I think one of the major pieces is when you, before you let people start using these tools, provide some policy training and some basic understanding of how these tools work and the do's and the don'ts. And then start to gradually let people use the tools, do some proof of concepts and things like that. But you need to put in the foundational elements first before you start, using these tools and just have everybody go after it willy-nilly. You want to put some structure around it and treat it as a enterprise capability. The other things, in understanding that, you have to understand establishing not only your governance and policies, but your data foundation, knowledge architecture, all the things that go around it, and then have some guidance on the best way to use it. And that's the only way that you can really start to get people to understand the benefits, the pitfalls, whatever, how you expect the tools to be used. But you also direct people in a structured manner in which to develop useful applications with these tools. It's okay to get to start familiarize yourself with the tools and things like that, but play in a structured sandbox, and before you start to move out and then develop tools that align with what the best use for the as it pertains to the business for these tools.
Okay, it's very interesting what you share, and I want to ask, like, following this discussion, what organizational change usually need to happen?
What organizational change?
Yes, organizational changes usually for you need to happen.
Well, first of all, like I said, you want to make sure that you have strong leadership that is supporting the implementation of AI in your organization. Have them also understand the benefits and the pitfalls of AI, not only in their industry, but also in their particular organization. And one thing that we do at my organization is that we have AI training for executives and senior leadership, which we run through what AI 101, AI in particular for the industry and for the organization. What's the best way to implement AI, leveraging understanding from a business perspective, business use cases, as well as the overall business case for AI and in particular AI applications. So it's getting the leadership also grounded in understanding what AI is and what AI means to them in your organization before you start to engage in this in this science. And you want to have that leadership not only from the senior level part of the organization, but push down also to middle management and down to your employees to take ownership as well. And that goes back to the previous conversation and understanding what our AI policies are, so they can protect the company and themselves from any AI mishaps that may occur. So it's that leadership from the top that hopefully we can push down, and also encourage from a bottom up perspective as well, because you're going to have some stars in your company that use AI, and you want to make sure that you engage with them to get their knowledge as well on how best they're using it. That maybe can help the organization as a whole.
Okay, so what I see is that the challenge is more about a mix of technical, cultural, and strategic parts of the organization, right?
Exactly. So if you really want to be successful as an organization with AI and generative AI in particular, I always found that understanding the whole foundational piece, the data, the other applications, the knowledge architecture, all those pieces that go around making the AI application successful. So from a technical perspective, we will look at building what we call a reference architecture. So you have components of AI governance. You have that's actually baked into the architecture, right? AI governance, your data sources, um, understanding your knowledge architecture or your data architecture and information architecture, all in in one level as well. To then understand, okay, you build on top of that curated, approved uh, data that is authoritative and authoritative sources on your organization. So you want to build on top of that, use AI to access those sources of curated content and data that enable your applications to run more efficiently. So it's all that infrastructure stuff that people forget about or don't talk about a lot that will help enable your AI solutions to work better. And so understanding from a technical perspective and from a business strategy and leadership perspective, you put those together, then you can help drive a concerted effort in what AI you will use for what purposes. So the one thing that struck me as really interesting and really is a testament to how you will use AI more of not replacing people, but enhancing someone's job is we look at the example from Salesforce that, they brought in AI, they laid off, thousands of people, and then end up having to bring them back because they let a lot of knowledge walk out the door. Versus the IKEA example, when they brought in AI, they used the AI to do a more lower level jobs and freed up those people to do more customer service related jobs and actually increase revenue by doing so. And that is a perfect example of having AI as a companion or enhancement of your job instead of replacing people. And you see a lot of instances across the industry now is that people are laying off folks in the pretense of, hey, we bring in AI, so we don't need as many people, to only say, oh, we need those people, we need to bring them back, either because you're losing knowledge or the cost of the AI is much more than the person that you're trying to replace. So it's all those things you have to look at from not only the business side, but the technical and people side of the equation as well when you start bringing in these tools. So you have to have some kind of structure. You just can't do this willy-nilly. You got to have a structure and to doing so, else you'll run into these problems that a lot of other companies have, and you end up wasting a lot of money and letting people go that you should not be letting go, and you're not, and you better able to utilize your people with a more strategic effort.
Okay, so now that you mentioned the structure part, that it's very important, one topic that is becoming increasingly important is AI governance, right? So many companies are eager to move quickly, but often without clear policies or oversight. So for you, what are the biggest governance mistakes you see in organizations making today when they implement Gen AI?
So yeah, as I kind of alluded to it earlier, when you start developing Gen AI solutions without the governance and policy, it's right. So you let the applications, being having built, even a lot of companies doing vibe coding, and they're having folks developing a lot of products, but then they say, oh well, we need to manage and maintain these products. We need to figure out how to best govern these products. We need policies in place. So it's like you let the genie out of the bottle. Now you want to put it back in, and then you never really catch up. The policies never really catch up to the use, because the use has already been pushed out first and it's exploding. Where now you got to play catch up and use governance now to try to get your arms around this. So the better approach is to have those governance and policies in place before you start to implement or let these tools available for your people to use. So governance first. I'm a governance first person, and I really push that and recommend that approach, because you want to make sure you have those guardrails in place as much as possible. You will learn as you go, but you at least have that policy starting first. And the other thing is this: when you develop AI governance policies, you have to operationalize them. That means implement these policies. You just can't have a document saying, "Oh, this is what we do. This is what we recommend." No, you lay those policies out. Then you operationalize them by one, having a AI inventory and audit. What AI applications do you have now? What do you want in the future? So then you get your arms around this before the organization is start using it. And then the other piece is, after you start to understand, where you want to go, have the policies in place, but then train people on the policies. Have that training as a caveat to say you can't access our AI solutions until you pass the training. That's the initial step in operationalizing any AI policy and governance framework. The other piece is to, especially in the agentic flows that we have now, is looking for where you can implement policies within the agentic framework, where a human is in the loop, where there's a human touch point, where there's access has to be approved for the agent to use, whether it's an application or access to data or whatever. Having that policy that you've written, then now coded in the agentic framework. So that's part of that operationalization, not only training, but also implementing that within your AI governance, AI agentic frameworks. And also it helps when you are training your algorithms. Make sure you have the right data in place, so you have understanding what the right model is for the right purpose, and the data that's aligned with that model to actually then train the algorithm to do what is intended to do. This is, the thing about it, governance is you have to have discipline to implement governance, and you need to have leadership that's expecting that discipline. And at the end of the day, AI governance does not slow down innovation. In my mind, in my experience, it helps accelerate innovation, because you're doing it the right way, with the right data and knowledge in place, and the right workforce implications, understanding of the right workforce implications, so you can make those decisions to enhance your workforce instead of replacing it. So it's a lot of those caveats that you look at, and a lot of things coming together, like you said earlier, from leadership to the folks that are implementing, to the guardrails in place, because you have to have a concerted effort between all your areas of your organization to understand exactly what AI you're using and why you're using it.
Okay, and for this understanding of how you can implement and use AI in an organization, when should companies start thinking about governance? Like, first in the beginning, or in the middle, or when is the right time for start thinking about governance?
Early and often, because the other thing, governance is not a one-time thing. Oh, we're doing governance and we're done. Governance is the active monitoring of your AI solutions. Okay, say you got your governance in place, early. You're doing the right things. You're bringing in your tools. You're getting your people some training and understanding of the tools and how to use them. When you start implementing applications in AI, you still have to monitor them. And the governance and the AI governance board and factors in that area help you to monitor your AI solutions and make sure that they are still producing the right decisions and running as intended, basically running as intended, because you're going to have introduction to new data, because you still evolve and growing as an organization. You have new data, and that you may not have tested a training algorithm for. So you still have to monitor your solutions, your AI solutions. And there's monitoring tools out there available that you need, that you can use. And working with your CISO, your security area, because they have requirements that the AI solutions must adhere to as well. And that's part of the monitoring too. So you do your governance early. It's not too early to think about governance, and you govern throughout the life cycle of all your solutions through the monitoring aspects, and you make decisions when things come up. If things need to accelerate to the governance board, to where you have more senior leadership there, then that mechanism is in place to help you make those decisions. So it's you're orchestrating this whole thing. It's a lot going on, and so you need people that understand how to orchestrate that, and understand what the connective tissue is that goes across your organization to help you manage and maintain the AI, but the right AI for the right solution situation, because that's based on the not only the business case, but the AI use case that's tied to it. And at the beginning, if all possible, have an AI strategy, because I always equate that, if I'm driving from New York to Los Angeles, I'm going to have a map. I'm going to do some kind of online map or paper map or whatever. I'm going to have a map. I'm going to have something to direct me. And so without a strategy, you don't have that roadmap. You don't have that, the wayfinder to say, okay, where are we going with this and why? And then the governance is really the guardrails. I can only go this fast on this road. I only can make a right turn here. That's the governance, is the guardrails that helps you implement your strategy, and then your use cases and business case align to your strategy to say, okay, does this make sense for our organization to do this? So you can quickly cut off things that you don't want to do and that doesn't align with what your organization does. But if something comes up that you have to take a hard look at, you are able to pivot with some knowledge on where you want to go as an organization. I'm not saying that it won't change, but at least you have that foundational direction in place. So those are things that I would, in a perfect world, you have an AI strategy first, and then the business case and use cases, governance, as well as the guardrails and the technology around it to support it. So it's and you can see, and based on my conversation with you, is that there are several areas within your organization that have to work together to orchestrate this, and that's with any technology. This is not nothing new as far as technology and what we need to do in technology, but AI presents a little different criticality to what you need to do, and some different different things that may happen because of the power in this technology. But you still have to adhere to great sound strategy, governance, data governance, AI governance. You got to have great workforce allocation and workforce strategy for this. So it's all those things in development of these applications. It's just different with AI. You have to train and continue to monitor and test. So it's those aspects, and having those right people in place to help guide that, and knowing that this is not some one-off. Governance is not a one-off deal. It's not something that you just do one time. Like I said, you have to continually work with it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. It's very interesting for organizations to see the implementation of the policies and governance in a very early stage for them. So thank you so much. It's very helpful. And now you have spent years working in knowledge management long before Gen AI became mainstream. So today RAG has become one of the most discussed enterprise AI architectures. So, why is knowledge architecture becoming such a critical foundation for enterprise AI? And what do companies often overlook when building RAG systems? Sorry.
Yeah, retrieval augmented generation, RAG, as it's called. Um, Now, a little bit about me. I spent 10 years in AI before I started going into knowledge management. And I saw AI and knowledge management as two sides almost of the same coin. It's really about knowledge, codifying knowledge, understanding knowledge, and generating answers and using leveraging expertise. So knowledge management is a key to efficient retrieval augmented generation, because what all RAG is really talking about is having your AI access your internal data or and content. You point to your knowledge base, but what it doesn't say is that you need a curated, approved area of content that you're using. You just can't point it to any old thing and you'll get any old thing answers. That data has to be authoritative sources, authoritative voice. It has to be curated, has to be architected. So knowledge architecture, which is equivalent to part of the information architecture and the data architecture, it has to be good, sound data to be used for retrieval augmented generation to really give you what you want. I can give you an example. If I'm using any of the generative AI tools, it's a foundational model, and I say, well, I want it to look at these files or this data. I would have it point to that data, or I would load that data in to the system, so it can then it actually fine tunes the model to look at that data, and that's the retrieval augmented piece. That's the augmented piece of the generation. You're augmenting it with your data. Now that data, you have to know that it is clean, it is authoritative, it is the right thing to use. Else you will get all types of crazy answers. But you need to have that curated, architected data. If you have a really good knowledge base that you're using, that's great for RAG as well. So it's not just enough to point to a repository of documents. It has to be in good shape. You have to clean it. Some people have documents in their system that are old, that really doesn't pertain to what you're looking for, and it's old information. That has to be clean. Having a what we call a knowledge audit done that goes through all of this and gets rid of the stuff that you don't really need, to archive it, that you don't really need to help facilitate a RAG system. So it's that knowledge architecture, information architecture is huge, and it's an importance of making sure this is successful.
Okay, and what you mentioned about the data. So is data quality more important than model quality?
Yes, the data quality is I call data is the new currency, right? So the better quality of data you have, the better your decisions from your AI applications that you have. But also, there also is a model selection process. You have to make sure you're using the right model for the right situation. So the model selection and the data is key to making sure that your solution fits the AI use case and corresponds to the business case that we talked about earlier, that aligns to the strategy. You see how I'm connecting the dots? strategy to business case to use case to model selection to data quality, right? That data quality has a lot to do with your knowledge architecture and information architecture. See, now all these pieces are being, now you see the connective tissue. And now you have an opportunity to have the right application being built and sound answers being delivered from that AI application. So all these pieces work together. It's the old diagram of the glacier, right? You can only see what's on top, but there's a bunch of stuff happening at the bottom of the glacier, the iceberg. So what you see on people see on top is that AI application, but there's a whole lot of stuff working at the bottom to make sure that this is delivering what is intended to be delivered. So yeah, RAG is great, but you got to do some work, got to do some homework on that too.
Okay, thank you. Now, everyone is talking about agentic AI and autonomous systems, but there are also growing concerns around trust, accountability, and control. So, what excites you most about agentic AI, and what risks do you think organizations are currently underestimating?
Well, agentic AI, which is really cool. I mean, I really love the aspect of agents and autonomous development, and understanding how you can have AI do a lot of things for you if you've done the right way, like we talked about. So, where back in the day, I did a lot with expert systems and neural networks. So, agentic systems go away from answering questions just like traditional systems. Agentic systems can also plan, can also reason through multi-step tasks, coordinate workflows, trigger actions. It's a bunch of stuff you can do, and then trigger these actions and access to certain things like we talked about earlier. You have to have the policy in there in the agentic flow, so that a human can be in the loop there to make sure the agent, as autonomous as you need it to be, is still having some human intervention. And so that's the risk of giving agentic systems, autonomous systems, authority without sufficient boundaries. That's where the governance comes in, without sufficient boundaries. The AI agent can do a lot of stuff, a lot of important things, and it's just amazing what you can enable an agent to do. But there is so much you have to be aware of as far as the risk is concerned. And so, sort of mitigate some of that risk is to make sure you build the framework, agentic framework, with the human in the loop in mind. So, as much as it can do, and again, it's going to depend on the business case and use case of how autonomous you want this agent to be. So that's the other key, because it definitely is growing. It's getting better. The environmental issue, which we haven't even talked about, the environmental issue with AI is huge, with energy use, water use, like electricity. But agents and using AI, using the tokens, and that is becoming more efficient with certain chips that are being developed. So it's a lot of other environmental pieces on the other end of this that we haven't talked about. That is a whole other discussion that we can have. But agents are amazing. They are only going to get more. You have more capabilities and more efficient as time goes by. But yeah, I'm really excited about what agentic AI in general and the evolution of agentic frameworks.
Okay, and where do you think agentic AI will create the biggest business impact first?
The business impact?
Yes, the bigger business impact.
Let's see. First of all, it's if you can build an agent to take care of some critical flows that will free up humans to do higher level work, I think that is the best use. But when these agents start to evolve, they're going to start replacing, some of that detailed decision making. And so there are frameworks that we need to make sure we put in place with agentic, as the agentic frameworks evolve. There are some governance frameworks that need to evolve with it and help help govern that. So that's my only, really, in the back of my mind, that's what I'm looking at. But at the end of the day, not every AI use case requires the same level of review or same level of scrutiny. So the agents, certain agents, like I said, depends on the use case and how you want to develop this. Depends on how much review and scrutiny you want to give it. But in just in general, having autonomous agents should have you pause to make sure that there's some kind of human in the loop with this. So this is exciting, yeah, but you got to be excited with a little caution as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So about AI regulations, governance frameworks, and industry standards are evolving rapidly around the world. Everything is happening so fast,
Yeah.
and we have new things every day. So, if you were advising a CEO today, what practical steps would you recommend to ensure their organization is building AI that is both innovative and responsible?
Okay. The first thing I would look at is depends on again your business and your organization, right? Understanding the rules of engagement, the different because the EU AI Act is evolving, right? And we just got a new release on that of that AI reg. Understanding how that affects you, your business, and your development of your AI solutions. One thing that we do as a company, I am a IEEE certified lead assessor in AI ethics. So we assess algorithms, we assess solutions for transparency, explainability, and one thing I would really would like to see as AI evolves is that leaders at these organizations take the time to do an AI assessment, right? Assess where your AI is now, right? The solutions, understanding the vulnerabilities. Do an assessment or an audit. Audit assessment is a little different perspective, but if you do both, an audit to understand what you have, and assessment, see how these things work, will put you in a better as far as decision making stance because you know more about your environment, your AI, how it works, and your vulnerabilities. Working with your security area to shore up those types of vulnerabilities, and understanding what your AI is actually doing and how you make it, have it do perform better. So understanding that first, you want to understand where you are. Then your industry, the AI regulations and laws. In the U.S., states have implemented AI governance and policies and different AI laws as well that it depends on your industry, you need to adhere to. The insurance industry is implementing AI specific rules and regs that companies that are doing business technology in the insurance industry, they need to look at that and be able to abide by those laws. And that again calls for some sort of detailed AI audit and AI assessment. So it's those things to get an understanding of where you are, where you want to go, what are the guardrails you need to adhere to, and then start to build your systems, evolve your systems accordingly. And so, as a CEO, that's what I will look at, because if you're not looking at that, you run the risk of your organization being fined, being set back, not being able to compete with the folks in your industry that are doing the things the right way, and implementing the right way and executing the right way. So it's good to understand where you are, where you need to go, and how you need to get there ahead of your competition. And those are the ways that you do that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rem. I'm sure that you are very good in your job, because I think that this is very interesting, because CEOs need a lot of advices, and they need like the guidance, because they don't know how to manage this AI era and the implementation in their organizations. So what should every executive team prioritize over the next 12 months? What do you think they should like doing this first?
Over the next 12 months, it depends on where you are in your AI journey, right?
Okay.
If you first just getting started, you want to do some sort of AI readiness assessment. Is my organization ready for AI? What type of AI we want to implement it? Is our culture ready? And start to do that AI readiness assessment. If you are already in the midst of AI, and you're really working towards, moving from pilot to actual operationalization of it, make sure you are looking at AI as a capability within your organization. Make sure you're putting those policies in place, those guardrails there before you mass proliferate AI applications. And so doing that, you really stay ahead of the game, be able to monitor what you're doing. Now, if your organization is past that pilot phase and you're implementing, got AI out there already, if you don't have governance, start getting it together. I don't care if the genie's out the bottle or the toothpaste is out the tube. You got to go. You got to do it. You got to start now. You got to do it, and understanding, how that can then be implemented within your organization, from how you do things to then also your applications, and what you got in flight, and what you will be doing in the future. Now, if your organization is, you got governance, you have your AI solutions, and they're cranking away, you're monitoring them, you're doing some great things. Don't forget, one really good thing to do is periodically have an AI audit and assessment. Know where your applications are, far as are they still adhering to your business and strategy. So make sure they're operating correctly. And it's good to have a checkpoint to audit these systems periodically, because you're monitoring them. I'm giving that caveat out there that you actually are monitoring, and you have the policies in place, but things evolve over time. And so if you do a periodic audit and assessment, that way you're keeping that forward-looking understanding of where you want to go, and knowing where you are now. And if you need to pivot for some reason, you're able to do so very quickly, because you understand where you are in an organization, where your technology is from an AI perspective, and everything that goes with it, with the data and governance, and you're operating that way. You will continue to be ahead of the game and ahead of your competition, if you are continually monitoring, assessing, and auditing your solutions.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Rem, I love to finish with a broader perspective. So, looking 3 to 5 years ahead, how do you think every enterprise AI will evolve, and what skills or leadership capabilities will become essentials for organizations that want to stay ahead?
Okay, sort of like encapsulating a lot of what I've said. So over the next 3 to 5 years, I think AI leadership will shift from experimentation leadership, experimenting on AI, to enterprise transformation and consistent change management. Enterprise transformation leadership and change management. Those
Okay.
things will have to be lockstep, right? Because things are going to be moving. The most effective AI leaders will not simply think about technology, but also they will include the business strategists, like I said, the governance, change leaders, risk managers, knowledge architects. Knowledge management is the key to this. People don't realize, but knowledge management is the key to successful AI solutions. And so then it goes back to my auditing and assessing of your systems, AI systems. So because we are trying to understand how your AI capabilities measure to organizational value, because we don't want to do anything without having it come back to say, why are we doing it? What measurable value are we gaining from this application? So the AI leader of the future, 3 to 5 years, or even now, will need to understand AI strategy, data governance, knowledge management, enterprise architecture, responsible AI, cybersecurity, and one thing that we haven't talked about is vendor management, because we're not building these systems from scratch. We're relying on vendors to come in, and we have to work with them to have their systems comply to our AI policies, our CISO policies as well, and how we're going to transform. That's going to be even more important now and 3 to 5 years from now, is that vendor management. And so from the top, AI leadership and the board level, we can't forget the board level,
Yeah.
because that really is your connection across your industry to other investors and other people that help drive what you do. So that from a board perspective, you got to be educated as well, and to understand the fabric of AI within the enterprise. And so and I hope that 3 to 5 years from now, we'll have a more connected working orchestration of AI solutions and applications with built-in governance and all the things you need to make this incredible technology work for you.
Okay, amazing. Dr. Rem, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. It was a pleasure having you on the conversation. We really appreciate your perspective on responsible AI, governance, and the future of enterprise AI adoption. And I'm sure our audience will take away a lot from you. And a lot from everything you shared. So thank you again for your time,